Hello, welcome back for some more decluttering. We are on a journey trying to get this house ready for the holiday season and just decluttering every nook and cranny. And today I wanted to share how I declutter my home in the main living spaces, the areas that kind of look like they're put together, but they've got a lot of hidden clutter. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is our formal living room. It's the first space you walk into when you walk in through our front door, and then we've got our entryway over here. And on first glance, it looks pretty put together, but then I do have some towels that just get set on the couch that need to be folded, and I do need to declutter through those. A pile of random stuff that I'm very poorly hiding behind the arm of the chair. And then I've got these stools that are just flat surfaces, and it feels like every flat surface becomes a collect-all space. And I know that all seems pretty obvious. It's like out in the open, but trust me, there's so much hidden clutter as well. For example, our entryway table, which seems like it's styled and nice, but then as soon as you open these doors, there's just stuff in every single one of these baskets down here. And I've got the same thing going on in our bookcase. I keep these decorative baskets on the bottom, but then they're both just like completely filled to the top where it's not even hidden anymore. And let's not even talk about this fireplace hearth. And then also in this space, I have a linen closet back there and a coat closet right here at the front, and those always need routine maintenance decluttering. And I think that this is a really good place to start since we are kind of in a transition between seasons, and I especially need to go through all of these shoes and all of these coats to prepare for winter. This method of decluttering is what I used to think you absolutely had to do every single time that you were trying to declutter or organize any space in the home, and that is to completely empty out that space and then sort through it, making sure that you touch every single item, assessing its value in your home, and decluttering the items that are no longer valuable to you, your family, or your lifestyle, and then only keeping what you need or want in the space, and then putting everything back in. Now, this is obviously still a method that I use, as you can see with this coat closet, but it's definitely not the only method that there is, and I'll be sharing a variety of approaches to how I declutter as we move through this space and each individual area that I wanted to tackle today. As I am sorting through all of the items that we store away in this coat closet, I am trying to take a more objective approach to how I am qualifying things or decluttering them. And so I'm going to make sure that I'm touching every single item, making sure that all gloves and shoes have a match, checking the condition to make sure that there's no holes or excessive wear, and then of course also checking the size to make sure that it is still relevant to the person that these things belong to, whether it's my husband, myself, or one of my children. And that's kind of how I'm making the cuts for what will be donated and what we will keep. So even if a pair of shoes is the current size, if there's a hole in the sole or the padding on the inside is starting to show excessive wear, I'm going to go ahead and declutter those things. If I find a glove that doesn't have a match, or a flip-flop, or a coat that is just getting a little bit too tight in the shoulders, then I will be decluttering those items. And then at the end of this, I'll reevaluate and see if there's anything that might need to be replaced. Thankfully, on this day, there wasn't, but sometimes there is, and that's just part of like the turnover of living a life and having things and growing in your home and as a person. And then of course, as I am putting everything away, I'm going to make sure to clean up the closet space as well. It's very rare that we have a completely empty space in our home, and so anytime that I'm doing a project like this, I always like to make sure that I'm vacuuming and wiping everything down and getting it clean as well as decluttered and organized. And then when it came to all of the cleaning supplies we keep in here, I noticed that I was holding on to quite a few things that I have not used in at least a year. I do feel like cleaning supplies can be very much like kitchen gadgets, where you might not use something all the time, but you could always think of a situation where you might need to use it. And I just went ahead and gave myself permission to declutter those items and only keep the things that I use in my everyday routines. How nice does this look right now? It feels so good to have this all cleaned out. There's so much more room in here now that we decluttered everything that we didn't need, and space to grow into, which is always nice when you're doing a decluttering project. And then this is all of the decluttered items so far. I feel like it's at least half of what was in that closet, and I'm feeling so motivated to keep going. So I think I'm going to work on all of the hidden clutter next. I thought that everything I was storing away in these baskets was unused home decor, and so for that reason, this would be more of a KonMari style method of decluttering, where you sort through your home category by category, assessing what you have within that category, decluttering items, keeping things before moving on to the next category. Oh my gosh, how many times can I say category? But I will say that in these baskets, I pulled out a few things that were outside of the home decor realm, and that surprised me. I'd completely forgotten that they were there, and that just goes to show the importance of routine maintenance decluttering. We can think we know exactly what we're storing and where we have it, but there are things that could surprise us that need to be addressed. This is so embarrassing. There is so much in here that's literally never even been used, like these Stony Clover reusable bags that launched at Target, 2 years ago? I've got 5 of them here and never used them. I have no idea what this even is. It's still wrapped, probably decor from HomeSense. These, I want to say bookends. I can't recall a time I've ever used these. This dog toy, also from Stony Clover. Yeah, basically there's just like a lot in here that I think I forgot about because I put it in there. Instead of putting it where it belongs, putting it away instead of putting it down, or just finding a place for it so that it can actually be used, I clearly just like shoved it into these bins, and then out of sight, out of mind, completely forgot about them. But this is actually a really happy find today, these Stony Clover reusable bags, because we had some, I think it was salmon juice, spill in our reusable bags on our last trip from the grocery store. The packaging for salmon, I usually buy like the big one, and the packaging is so flimsy, and so it just kind of got bent up when we were bringing the groceries in, and the juice spilled out all in those bags. And I cleaned them, wiped them down as best as I could for things that like just can't go into the washing machine, and clean them, let them dry, put them in the car, and it reeked the next day. So we had to throw out all of those reusable bags, which is okay. Most of them we had collected for free from Target when they first went, like when they first got rid of plastic bags. And so they were just supplying guests with them, and so they were ripped up and tattered and like needed to be replaced anyway. But I've been dreading it because sometimes reusable bags can be expensive, like anywhere from like $2 to $5 each, and they don't really last the longest. So this is nice that I found these. At least for our next grocery trip, we'll be able to see if they'll work for that purpose, and if they do, I'll definitely be keeping them in the car for that. So I won't be decluttering that, and I think I'm gonna save this for Christmas for Daisy. I'm sure that's probably what I bought it for, was for Christmas for Daisy or Lola, whoever at the time. and then again, just put it in there and forgot about it. So I'll be holding on to these. That just needs to find a new home. I don't even know what this is. Oh, it's so cute actually. It's like a little marble tray. I feel like, oh, I could use it for like setting candles on, or it would be really nice next to like a sink or something for soaps. There's multiple uses, so I think I'm gonna give it a shot before I declutter it. I say that as I'm stacking it on top of another marble tray that I use for those purposes. We'll see. I've never even used it yet. I feel kind of guilty about just decluttering it, having never used it. So I'm gonna put it in the keep pile for now. Well, I guess this is the keep pile too. I'm gonna put these in the keep pile for now. I will declutter these though. I'm gonna start a declutter pile over here and a trash pile right here, and just sift through these things and figure out what's what. Home decor can actually be very difficult for me to declutter for a couple of reasons. Probably the primary reason is that it plays such a significant role within my job. YouTube and social media has been my job for the last 5.5 years, and I do share a lot of homemaking related content, which includes seasonal, holiday, and everyday decorating. And so because of that, I have amassed quite a collection of home decor within all of those categories of seasonal, holiday, and everyday. But I also want to recognize that this became such a big part of my job because it became a passion of mine. I've had so much fun over the last 5 years trying to figure out my personal and familial style within my home, and I have tried out so many styles, so much decor, and had so much fun sharing that with you and also just figuring it out for myself. And so then I have all of these happy memories and positive associations with some of these pieces, and I find myself thinking about how excited I was to find a certain thing, or how well it worked within my home at one point and how much I liked it at one point. And so then maybe I might use it or like it again sometime, or I might feel guilty like I'm doing a disservice to myself or that item by removing it from my home, because then it removes the memory. And I know that this is a huge mental block with a lot of people when it comes to decluttering, which is why I wanted to share it. Feeling nostalgia or positive associations with material things is actually a very common shared experience for quite a few people. But I just wanted to remind you that we hold those memories and feelings within ourselves, in our own hearts and in our minds, and decluttering a thing is not the same as decluttering a memory. Not holding on to that, not having it in your house anymore is not going to erase that good time or that fond memory or that experience that you love so much. And this is a very freeing mindset once you come to that realization, and just give yourself permission to relieve yourself of that burden. Because oftentimes what happens is that when we start holding on to things that are no longer in use, we also start to impose negative emotions onto those things and also onto ourselves. Anxiety over having too many things and not enough places to store them, stress over trying to figure out how to make your household manageable, even guilt sometimes over keeping things, and does that mean that I'm a hoarder if I'm not using it, or does it mean that I'm depriving someone else who might need it? It can start to taint those good memories with almost an aftertaste or an afterthought of something negative. So if you are currently struggling with that mindset, I just wanted to share a little bit of encouragement with you. It's okay to give yourself permission to grow and shift within that, and once it clicked for me, everything felt so much lighter. Decluttering, home organization, everyday routines became easier, and even the emotions associated with them felt like they were simplified overnight. And through this journey, I have not felt any loss loss or any regret. This is just your friendly reminder that if you are ever decluttering old dish towels, torn up or not torn up towels, blankets, things like that, don't throw them out. Don't take them to your local Goodwill. Instead, donate them to your local animal shelter because they are always in need of items like that. But anyway, I fear we have hit that part of every project where it starts to feel more cluttered and chaotic than when we even started. This is our declutter pile, which I am very proud of. And then over here, I do have a pile of recycling. This needs to go out in our backyard shed, but all of that underneath is recycling. A bag of trash, of course, and then these are linens that I'm keeping, and I can't put any of that away without first going through our linen closet back here. So it looks like this is the next stop, and let me just give you an overview of this hot mess express before we get started, because it's bad, you guys. This is pretty out of control. Okay, so as I'm going through this linen closet, you are going to notice that I'm kind of cleaning as I go, decluttering as I go, and moving shelf by shelf. That's because this was really maintenance decluttering at this point. I have decluttered and reworked and done complete overhauls in this linen closet so many times, and a couple of years ago, I think I finally figured it out, the organizational system and the bins and everything that I put in here has just worked for me. And so I didn't feel like there is a real need to change the system. I just needed to clean it up a bit, revisit it, and that's okay. That's just part of routine home maintenance. I would say that I do this every 6-ish months, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less if I see that it needs to be done. And it is so important to keep up with it because we live in a very small home. It's not the smallest home. I'm not saying we live in a tiny house or the smallest house that has ever existed, but we are a family of 4 with 1 dog, and we're living in just about 1,400 square feet. And this is really our only storage in our house. We have standard size closets, no walk-in closets in each of the bedrooms. We have the coat closet and this linen closet, and there is no additional storage. We don't have a basement, we don't have a garage, we don't have a finished attic, none of that. And so I do store away a lot of our essentials and personal care, things like that within this closet, and so that can kind of get out of control pretty quickly with 4 different people going in here to grab things and being responsible for putting them back. And so this just becomes something that I have to do as a part of a routine in cleaning and maintaining the home. And so there wasn't anything like too crazy that I was doing in here. Also, I'm working in a tight space. We don't even have a real hallway. I'm just literally sitting right in front of our bathroom, which is then flanked on either side by my kids' bedrooms. And so to try to pull everything out of here when I knew that there wasn't too much that was going to be changing about it, it just didn't entirely make sense to me. So that's why you see me going shelf by shelf, because I had gotten this space to a point where this is okay. This feels manageable. I feel like I'm still successful in decluttering and organizing this way, and I don't need to overwhelm myself by pulling absolutely everything out at one time. However, if you are looking for that kind of motivation, I have so many extreme decluttering and organizing videos, and I'll try to link an organizing playlist for you if you want to go through any of that and just see the home organization journey that I've been on for the last 5 years, trying to figure out how to make my small space work for me. There is so much trial and error, a lot of organizational systems that I tried and failed, but I think I finally figured it out. Okay, so this might not be like the most satisfying before and after transformation ever, but I am pretty happy with it. It's mostly not satisfying because our towels aren't clean, so I don't have like a beautiful stack of luscious white towels right here, but this'll do. So up on this top shelf is where I store the girls' humidifiers when they're not in use. I'll have to actually take those out here probably within the next few weeks. And then I put some organizational bins that I'm not ready to let go of. These are a bunch of like miscellaneous things. So I have some like hair care, face care, basically refills of like body soap, body washes, sunscreen, things like that. And then behind it over there, I have some things we reach for less often, like first aid and stuff like that. There's an empty one over there, and then this is all of our Bath & Body Works Wallflower plugins. Clearly, this is where we keep our towels and our toilet paper. And then down here, I moved all of our tissues, and then these are just like bathroom cleaning supplies since the bathroom's right there. And then, of course, we have trash and decluttered items. Those need to go in the pile over here. And I did move our Swiffer sweeper that the girls use when they're cleaning their bedrooms into here. Since we had so much other cleaning supplies and floor care items in here, it just made sense to put it there. But now that I have all of the decluttering done, the rest of the room just looks like complete chaos. It's a mess in here everywhere you turn. So now it's time to clean everything up, get the things that we're keeping put back in their place, the things that didn't belong in this space to begin with, put back in their home. All of the donations need to be dropped off to Goodwill, all the recycling taken out, the trash, you know the drill. Basically resetting this space. You guys, this is actually crazy. It is an entire carload of stuff. I probably should not have broken down those boxes because I could have used them to corral all this stuff. But my local donation centers do have these like really large bins on wheels that they prefer for you to put the donations in, as opposed to having things in plastic bags, because my state is plastic bag free, or like cardboard that they're just going to have to recycle themselves. So usually when I pull up for a donation, they wheel that bin out and they ask you to put the things in there and then they wheel it back in. So I guess this works out. It's just crazy. It's like a mountain in my car, and that just goes to show that even when it looks like there's not much to declutter, or you think that you don't need to declutter, you could end up with like an entire car full of donations. As for everything left inside, I do have some of those decor pieces up here on the entryway because I listed them on Facebook as I was decluttering, and these things sold already. So I think between all of this, I'm gonna end up making like $35 from this decluttering. And I do have this little pile of things. These are Derek's things, and I just don't like to actually make the donation without his permission. So I'm gonna wait for him to get home, and then he'll tell me if it's okay to actually declutter. And then I still have all of this collected on the fireplace hearth because I'm waiting for the kids to help me with it. I just feel like it would be easier to have them help me with putting things back where they belong, since there are things that go in Kinsley's room, Sawyer's room. I'll need Derek to put some of those Christmas decor things up in the attic over there, and so it's just going to be a lot simpler. I'll clear off that space when everybody's home and we can all work together and get it done in 5 minutes instead of it taking me like 25 minutes. But otherwise, I am so happy with the rest of this space. It's very cleaned up, more minimal, definitely clutter-free. Let me give you a look inside of these bins. I just have some non-seasonal decor, and this is where I like to store it away, because this is like everything that I'll swap out when the holidays are over in this space. So it's just a lot easier for me to store it away in this space and actually make use of these bins here instead of just having empty bins in the entryway. And then our coat closet, let me give you an overview of that. We've got hats, gloves, and an umbrella up there. Some like floor cleaning supplies, because we do keep our vacuum and now our Swiffer in here. And then all of our coats and the shoes that we wear most often. And then I know I gave you a tour of the linen closet already, but let me just show you one more look at that. It's looking so much better, and I promise I will wash a load of towels tonight so that I can fold them and have this shelf all stocked up for everyone's showers tomorrow morning. But yeah, I am so happy with everything that I was able to accomplish today, and just decluttering this main living space and all of those, what I like to refer to as the forgotten areas, just the out of sight, out of mind clutter that just looms in the background. I've had these spaces on my to-do list for over 6 months. I think it's probably been a year now that I've just been putting it off, and then every surface just becomes a collect-all, I swear, like any empty surface. And usually when that starts happening, when like things start piling up on like our chairs or stools or like the fireplace over here, all of these random places that should be like clear from clutter, you know what I mean? Like that we're using all the time. I always know that means that it's time for a serious, like extreme overhaul, reset, declutter. I need to reorganize, like the whole nine, because it means we have too much stuff and not anywhere to put it. So that's why it's piling up. I hope that this was helpful and motivational to those of you who have a lot of forgotten spaces or clutter in the corners like I do. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps to support my channel, and subscribe if you aren't already. I do have at least 3 more videos in this pre-holiday decluttering and organizing series. I need to work in our primary bedroom, also in the kitchen. Like there's a lot that I declutter routinely in the kitchen, but it's always the same cabinets and drawers, and there's some that I just never show on camera, and there's a reason I never showed them on camera. So we're going to be tackling that before we get into holiday entertaining and hosting. And then also, obviously, we need to do a toy purge. Yeah, at least 3 more videos in this series, and then we will be right on into Christmas content, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here with me today. I always appreciate that there is so much content to consume, so many places on the internet that you could be mindlessly scrolling, looking for entertainment, and it's never lost on me that you choose to spend your time here with me. So thank you so much for that, and I hope that I see you all in the next one. Bye.